Wow, this is nice. New car, Mark.
Yes, your new car. Just bought it a few weeks ago. Needed something, a runaround daily driver that was going to be fun, a bit sporty, sticking to my two-door car only policy. And yeah, Renault Sport Megane RS265. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, let's go find out.
Let's drive.
You drive. Good morning, welcome to inCARnation. Finally, a normal car, something affordable.
And something non-EV. We need to get back into a proper car.
A proper car?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got EVs and proper cars.
That's right.
Red Bull Edition. This is the Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel era.
It was that era, 2012. This is what's called an RB7.
It's firm, first impression. This is a lovely bit of road just here, but
yeah,
you can feel this is more sport than comfort, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is what they call the cup chassis, which is really just shocks and springs operated, and you really can feel it. The ride's borderline a bit harsh to the fact that I've let the tyre pressures down a little bit on this car to make it a little bit more compliant and a little easier to drive. Lovely smooth road, it's perfect, but as soon as you get a few corrugations, it's borderline a bit unpleasant actually. Luckily it's got the 18-inch wheels on it. If it had the 19s and the 35 series tyres, it'd be even worse.
Okay.
I guess I was looking at what can I buy that's a fun sporty car. 20,000 bucks. I mean, I could spend more if I wanted to, but I just didn't want to spend more than 20. And this fitted the bill. I've had a bit of a soft spot for Renaults for some years, since racing Formula Renault in Asia back in 2006 and 7. So I like the cars and I like the engines in particular. I mean, Renault make brilliant engines, so yeah, I've been thinking about one of these for a little while. Yeah, this one has the Recaros in, and for me that was a deal breaker. It had to have the Recaros. Probably maybe 40% of the cars on the market have got the Recaros, and they are a very good seat. They're very comfortable and they look pretty cool.
Okay. It looks like quality trim. This isn't real carbon fibre, is it?
Yeah, that's actually real carbon fibre in that.
Is it?
We've got a bit of faux carbon fibre here and there on the doors, which
actually
is reasonably good quality.
It does actually feel very rigid, like the Clio. Remember we reviewed the Clio? That was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
If you want to see that review, there it is up there.
That's quite a popular review, wasn't it? A lot of people interested.
It's a great little car. $5 grand for that one.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. It's probably gone up in value now. I wonder if this will go up in value.
I don't know. I think
not.
No, I don't think so.
Not very loud. It's nice. It cruises along.
Yeah,
it's got
the cruise along. That's a
lovely
nice little burble.
Yeah.
It's not i30N, is it? But it's still.
No, it's good. And a bit
nice
about you've got a little wastegate.
Little wastegate thing going on there. It's not quite Subaru WRX, but it's
261 horsepower, 265 PS, 195 kilowatt. But the torque is good, 360 newton meters, but low down at 3,000 revs.
Feel how harsh this.
Okay, now this is the real test. We get on.
Yeah. So that limiter comes in very, very early.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. But it gets up and goes pretty well.
Yeah, good torque. I'm surprised it doesn't rev out a bit harder.
Yeah, it's a real torquey engine, and I just like the feel of that. But there's a lot of things that I like about the car. The electric power steering has a really nice feel, a nice weight to it. And you'll have a drive later, I think you'll agree. It actually is pretty good. This car's got 91,000 Ks on when I bought it. I was looking at lower mileage ones around that 50, 60, 70,000. You think, oh yeah, that's attractive, let's go for the lower mileage one, but they haven't had the big service done, which is cam belt and water pumps.
Oh yeah.
This has been done, and that's probably a $2,500 to $3,000 exercise, so it's worth actually going one that's 80, 90,000 Ks with all that work done.
Yep. Previous owners kindly fitted very nice Michelin Pilot Sport 4s as well.
Yeah, they were pretty much brand new, so that was another nice thing. And the previous owner kindly has taken all the ridiculous Red Bull decals off the car, which were all over the place. We've got rid of those. I didn't really want to be advertising Red Bull, so they're gone. Apart from the little checker flag that's on the roof. Pedals are really nicely set up as well.
Yeah. Brake pedal pressure, nice and firm.
Yeah, really nice brake pedal pressure.
Ergonomics are good. You're not sitting with a cantilevered wheel too much like you do in a lot of French and Italian cars.
Yeah, look, it's pretty good. It's, you know, reach adjustment. There's a lot of adjustment. Even though they've got the Recaros here, they're a two-piece Recaro, so they're not fixed. So you really can get the seat just right. I do tend to sit fairly close, but I can get it just right.
The usual Renault ergonomics where you need a university degree to learn how to set the clock and stuff like that.
Yeah, you need to be at least part French to understand some of the controls. It's not intuitive in any shape or form, unlike a German car.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how part of the cruise control's there, the rest up there, the radio's there, the display for the radio's here, but the controls are over there.
It's French.
Yeah.
Not a lot of body roll. Responds really well.
I'm surprised at that little wastegate. It's not something I expected to hear. The little whooshing of that.
Either. That's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you got two controls. You got normal mode and you got sport mode. That's in sport mode now. It does.
What does that do?
It certainly opens the throttle up, much more responsive.
Changes the throttle mapping, does it?
Yes.
Suspension? It's not active suspension, is it? It's just
Just throttle mapping.
okay.
You know that nice feel of a front-wheel drive car when you get into a tight corner, you just with a limited slip diff, and this car does have the mechanical limited slip diff. You get your foot down around a tight corner, and the thing just pulls around the corner, unlike any rear-wheel drive car is ever going to do. So
This is a lot less comfortable, can I say, than the i30N along here.
it is, yeah, definitely.
That just managed the whole ride handling equation a bit better
Much
in
more
general.
sophisticated
This is
car.
much more hardcore.
Yeah, this is more hardcore. And this is a 10-year-old car, so you know a lot of that tech is not in this car.
Quite a bit of road noise coming through there on that course
Yeah,
chip.
there is.
Now here it changes and see if it straight away quietened down a lot. And here's our blind corner. Oh jeez, that one.
Haven't done that for a while.
It gets me every time, that corner.
Yeah.
That's a loose surface there. Yep.
It gets a nice little burble on the exhaust there, doesn't it?
Yep.
I know some of these are, you know, pretty seriously modified, and you know, I certainly won't be doing that with this car.
Yeah, it's good. This thing is a real short shift. Use the torque, which I didn't
It's pretty
expect.
short, so you're up and down the gears a lot, which is kind of fun anyway.
Yeah.
So the ratios are pretty close together, which I like. It's a really nice gear shift.
Yeah.
For a front-wheel drive car, 'cause, you know, sometimes front-wheel drive cars just don't quite get the gear shift as good as rear-wheel drive cars. But this is sweet. It feels really solid. This is where we tested the i30N, wasn't it, Stu? Which we were just amazed with. And look, this car is not as good as that. There's no way. However, it's a $20,000 car.
The danger is with
10
the
years old.
broken up road that it'll skip a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, when we came over here, this was a tarmac rally
Yeah.
in the i30N. It's now a dirt rally
is,
on
yeah.
the same road.
But you know, the limited slip diff in this car is fantastic. And,
Yeah.
you know, one thing that Renault has is such a great race heritage for many, many years, you know, for decades, and you can really feel that sort of DNA in this car. You can feel there a little bit of loose surface, and it just slid a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very predictable, not nasty at all. You know, some powerful front-wheel drive cars like this, you know, start getting on and off the throttle mid-corner, they can get a little bit nasty. This is actually really, really predictable.
Yeah. No, it's a great chassis.
A lot of car makers produce so-called competition or motorsport versions of their cars by just adding a few badges, stickers and not much else. This is not one of those cars. Even in standard form, this feels like a car someone has spent a lot of time to make into a proper track car, complete with all the comfort trade-offs that entails. This cup chassis might be no more than shock springs and maybe roll bars, but it does feel like a proper race car. Grippy, but not very comfortable on anything that isn't super smooth. And a turbo motor with a great little boy racer blow-off valve and exhaust crackle and pop. This car is from the era when Red Bull Renault was on top of the Formula One pops, with Webber and Vettel and a lot of their F1 tech flowing into the road car. So let's talk about the motor. The same basic 2 litre 4FR that has seen service in dozens of Renaults for 20 years. So just this simple 2 litre iron block, aluminium head, 4-cylinder motor has double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, multi-point injection and electronic throttle control. Tuned by Mechachrome, it has continuously variable valve timing on the intake cam. It's under square, which means that the stroke is bigger than the bore, and that generally means that the motors are more torquey rather than revvy. But the same motor in the Clio we found to be very revvy.
That's the same motor that was in the Formula Renault?
Same motor, but without the turbo in the race car, so a non-turbo version. This engine has been around for years and years and years, and this 2 litre Renault engine itself is probably one of the best 4-cylinder engines out there. You can stick one of these in the back of your Formula Renault single-seater and get a couple of seasons racing out of it without even bothering to freshen it up.
The motor was a surprise to me, not about what it was, but what it wasn't. That same motor that was so free-revving and sweet in the Clio we tested has become somewhat gruff in the Megane. Sure, the turbo has given it lots more mid-range punch, but it sounds like an old-school raucous Nissan SR20 motor. Just a bit uncultured. The limiter comes in hard at only 6,000 revs. I didn't expect that blow-off valve to be such a boy racer thing. To me, it just sounded like it was having a bit of a continual asthma attack.
Okay, best features: engaging gear ratios, the mechanical LSD, well-weighted steering, pedal placement, seat position, the positive gear change, driving position, the Recaros.
They're height adjustable.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, so they are. That's
The
cool.
lever arrangement down there.
The Brembos, 340mm 4-pipe Brembos on the front, on a car that weighs under 1,400 kilos.
Yeah.
It stops. Fuel, not terribly economical when you drive
It does use a bit of fuel. That's
7 to 8 litres per 100k if you're just cruising along.
Yeah.
But if you're driving it for hard, 12.
Yeah.
Worst features: the stiff ride. It's impossible. Don't buy one. It's horrible.
I know I was a little shocked the first time I took it for a drive on a slightly rough road. I thought, yeah, borderline a bit unpleasant if I'm being honest. So hence the lower tyre pressure that I'm running in this car. You wouldn't want it to be any stiffer than this, unless you're just planning to have it as a track day car.
Rear seats look actually very spacious too.
Yeah.
Rear vision not so good. Little letterbox window there. The instrumentation's a bit ordinary. Weird placement of controls. Navigation system hasn't got one. Halogen headlamps, the standard fitment.
Yeah.
Terrible. Glove box is designed for gloves. That's it.
Well, it is a glove box after all.
Now, Meganes, they've been around since 1995, the Series 1, which, if I can say, horribly ugly little car.
They were they were unusual, weren't they?
Then the second gen, 2002. Then the third gen came out, 2008, which is this basic design.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a facelift in 2012, which
right.
is what this car is. Looks kind of nice, actually.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I mean, it's a little quirky and it's a fun car to drive.
Well, fun it may be, but fun is not an empirical measure. So I have 2 graphs for you to see how the Megane ranks against various other cars we've reviewed. Yo, science! Firstly, simple one. Power to weight. Pays no regard to the cost of the car. Megane doesn't score particularly well, nor does the Clio. And now, pay attention because this is really important. In the past, we've looked at bang for your buck, measured as dollars per kilowatt per kilogram. But I've come up with something even better. Torque and acceleration is more important in the real world than power. So behold, the new inCARnation bang for your buck. Basically the cost you pay for that shove in the back. Both scales are weighted, but the cost has a high bearing on this one. I think it's quite realistic. As you can see, the Clio and the Megane score very, very well. Of course, there are reviews for all these cars on the channel, so please make sure you subscribe.
I enjoy it.
It'll get you out of the Audi and the other diesel Peugeot.
Well, kids have inherited those cars now.
Have they?
Yeah.
How many Ks on the diesel Peugeot?
About 350,000. So there you go.
And it's still going strong?
And tell me French cars aren't reliable, they are. Let's find out when I've had this for a while, but it should be good.
Yeah.
And I think the secret of one of these with a French car is you need to have a mechanic who knows French cars. If you take one of these to your average mechanic, they're going to say, what the hell were you thinking? And why didn't you buy something Japanese? You need someone who knows the car. So luckily I've got There's a couple of good French guys in Sydney who do good work and know the cars well. So. Renault Megane fans will know how the yellow mirrors and the yellow splitters, but this is all done in black.
You can see a little trace of the yellow there.
Yeah, previous owners done that in matte black, which actually I prefer, to be honest.
Gee, it's looking dirty.
Non-xenons, just you know, ordinary lights there, which are a bit ordinary. I've changed the bulbs. Slightly later versions did have a xenon light, but yeah, they're okay.
But look, five minutes on a dirt road. Don't chat to your
There's
cars.
always someone that does that.
There's
isn't there?
always
There's
some
always
dick.
one of those people. Yeah.
I should have written it in French. You wouldn't know half the state's in flood, would you, at the moment?
No.
Anyway, we've got the please drive slowly wombat sign over there, and the look out kangaroos here, and there's drop bears in the trees up there. It's all happening. This is a dangerous country.
Yes, absolutely. Watch out for the snake there, Stu.
What?
Let's go.
Let's go. Flee!
That's enough of that, Stu.
What a bass player. They don't know what they're talking about. People go, oh, it's got a gritty, crappy stereo, but that was fine. It's okay.
Perfectly serviceable, I would say, Stu. You really do need to find someone who knows what they're talking about and get some advice and do some research prior to buying one, which I certainly did.
Okay.
This is a Red Bull car. I wasn't actually after a Red Bull car, but you know, I ended up with one of these. I think it's a number 108 out of 500.
Sounds really rorty. Let's put a microphone under the bonnet so we can listen to what that blow-off valve sounds like.
Yeah, well, I was quite surprised this car did that. It's kind of cool, isn't it? A little bit boy racer, but it's all right.
Yeah. I think any of the Cup cars, the 250, the 265, the 275, they're probably the ones in the sweet spot, aren't they?
They're all much the same, between 15 to 25. Some of them are up around that 25, 26, probably a little unrealistic on price, I think. So 20 is probably about the sweet spot price-wise. You don't need to spend $50,000. I mean, you know, I guess if you compare it to the i30N Hyundai, which we know is brilliant.
Yep. It is very comparable.
It's a whole nother evolution from this car, but it's a $50,000 car.
Yeah, I have seen them down to about high 30s now.
Yeah,
but
okay.
even so, that's twice the price of this. So, yeah, and you want something with plenty of power. Let's say you want at least 180 kilowatts in a 2-door, 3-door hatchback, front-wheel drive, manual gearbox, sporty, under 20 grand. That'll really excite you. The options are, you could get an Astra VXR, but it's a Holden and it doesn't have the same cred as this at all, does it?
Yeah.
What about a VW Sirocco?
Yeah, well, if you can find a manual one, there's not many around.
Certainly in the Golfs, most of the Golfs were DSGs, but the Siroccos, there are more manuals.
Yeah.
But again...
They're a good car.
Yeah, price-wise though.
Yeah. But if you want something decent, low cage, you're probably going to pay more than that, I would have thought.
Yeah. Ford Focus ST. That's actually a very comparable car.
Yeah, they're a good little car, actually, the Ford Focus ST and manuals. Nice car if you can find a tidy one that hasn't been molested.
Very similar price to this.
Yeah.
Honda Civic Type R is going to cost you 45 grand.
Yeah, so it's really out of the equation.
No good. Here's one you hadn't thought of. Peugeot 308 GTI. If you like your French cars, that's very comparable. It's only a 1.6 turbo versus this is 2 litre, but it's got more power. It's a really high-strung little motor. Trouble is, whereas this car under 20 grand, it'll be over 20 grand for one of those, just over.
These seem to vary between 15 to 25. Some people are a bit unrealistic at 25, I think, on the market. I think 20 is a fair price for this car.
So they had a number of these, didn't they? The RS250, the 265, the 275.
Yeah, they have the Cup, they have the Trophy, they have the Trophy R. You need to be at least part French to understand why they have so many permutations. It's very confusing. They're all pretty much the same, really. I guess for me, I like to have cars that are a little bit different, but there's not that many of them on the road.
Yeah.
If you go to any track day anywhere in Australia and probably anywhere in the world, you'll always see a bunch of these being used on the track. They're great little track day cars. Well, there is a market for these, and the good ones tend to turn over pretty quickly.
Yeah. So that's it for today on inCARnation, a short review today of this rather good Renault. What to look for if you're buying one of these cars? Wear on the seat bolsters. Has the cam belt water pump been changed? In this car, yes, just before you got it. Fantastic. Oil leaks from the cam cover in the sump. Gearbox, noisy bearings. Rubber suspension mounts can split. Anti-roll bar bushes wear. And creaking sounds at full lock which can be the lowest swivel joints. That's it. Best features, value for money, yes. Brakes, power, gearbox, handling, exhaust node, the little blow-off valve, great gear ratios, nice and short.
Yep.
Mechanical limited slip diff, well-weighted steering, although it is electric, pedal placement, positive gear change, great driving position, the Recaro's, well, 1400 kilo car, under 1400 kilos with these massive brakes, fantastic, and quite economical if you drive it nicely.
Yeah.
Worst features, the ride. If you've got a bad back, or it's even on this smooth road, it's a little jiggly.
It's a little harsh, yeah.
Yeah. The boot size is not that big. I think there's less room in this than in Helen's Renault Clio. Yes, the back seats are great, but the boot is quite narrow, so that's not so fantastic. The navigation system, there is none, so it's useless.
Well, everyone's got a phone these days, haven't they? Do you need one in your car? Who uses a navigation system in a car anyway, Stu?
And weird things that fail. You know, some people report they've had endless troubles with these cars, the electronics, the modules going kaput and weird things, ABS units and stuff like that. Other people say, ran for years, no problem at all.
Yeah.
One thing we know that is strong is the motor. You know, if you just do your oil changes regularly, look after it, do the cam belt and the water pump when they need to, the motor's going to just run forever. Is the clutch heavy? A little bit heavy?
Clutch are nice.
Okay.
For me, it's not heavy. I think it's got a really good weight to it.
I'm going to listen to that exhaust again.
There you go. It's not quite i30N, is it? But
It's not quite that GT4 RS we were in last
it's not that
week.
No, it's certainly not that.
Well, if you're new to the channel, you've just happened across this video, thanks for tuning in. Have a look around, because there's a heap of videos there. Electric cars, classic cars, petrol cars, expensive, inexpensive, drawing on Mark's many years of race driving experience. Hopefully it's a channel with a bit of a difference where we actually drive the cars instead of just read the spec sheet to you. So, thanks for tuning in. Here's our assessment.
Thank you.
As you can see, look at the numbers there. Did pretty well. Lost a few brownie points for the harsh ride, I'm afraid.
But at the end of the day, I was actually happy to get out of the Megane. Maybe the problem is me. It wasn't noisy, but it was just too harsh for me. And maybe I've been in too many electric cars lately too, as the turbo torque didn't really impress me. The steering and gear change were precise, very important, but I would definitely get tired of that fidgety ride. Once again, maybe I've been spoiled by too many cars with smart adaptive dampers. So it's a no from me. But it's a yes from Mark. It is a proper car, as he said at the start. He started his career in go-karts, and maybe that's where his heart is. And what this is, a big go-kart that brings back fond teenage memories on his long daily commutes. Who knows? On the plus side, it's economical, unpretentious, not too noisy, cheap to buy and hopefully cheap to run. He enjoys swapping cogs and he'll be doing plenty of that with the short gearing. It's fast enough in the real world to keep up with just about anything, and sure, it puts the power down very well with that mechanical diff. So for 20 grand, yeah, I get it. Good on you, Mark. Life's too short to drive boring cars. Oh hey, you made it right through to the end of the video. Congratulations. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please share it with your motoring friends. And above all, click the little subscribe thing down here so you can see the latest videos when we bring them out, hopefully each week. I look forward to seeing you soon.